watching T Radio V, radio in TV.
The Social Action Media Network and T Radio V present Creating Good Work Live with your hosts, Ron Schultz and Greg Franks.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Creating Good Work. I'm Ron Schultz, and today we're, as always, week in, week out, we're bringing you the finest in social innovators and social entrepreneurs.
Can't hear it.
You can't hear anything either? Uh-oh, we've got an issue with our headsets already. So I'm Ron Schultz, and this is Greg Franks.
Yes, it is.
And we're very happy to be with you here today. We have, I love the show today. We have two of my very most favorite people, three of my most very favorite people on this, who just happen to be people who not only do I adore, but I admire them as well for the work they're doing. One of them is working in the area of homelessness, and the other is the founder of the LA Weekly and one of the premier networking authorities in Los Angeles, so we should get to it. Our first guests are Tina Hovesepian and Alex Yajarian. Tina and Alex are the co-founders of Cardborigami, and when I first met Tina, I met her at a major pitch competition, and it was clear there was really something special here. There was something really quite amazing about what she was doing. And in 2007, she designed and built a prototype of a temporary shelter, homeless shelter, made of cardboard, and thus Cardborigami was born. Since then, Tina and Alex have built a very successful nonprofit, and in 2015, Tina was honored with the Mother of Invention Award. It was given to her by Toyota, and asked to present at Tina Brown's Women in the World Summit. And then she was also recently awarded the Muhammad Ali Humanitarian Award in the area of respect. So we're very happy to have you both with us today.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Well, let me begin by just asking the first obvious question. Tell us about Cardborigami.
Sure.
And how did this idea come to your thought?
Definitely. So, as Ron mentioned, this design for a portable shelter started during my architecture studies at USC. And the inspiration behind it was really based on me being born and raised in LA, which is the homeless capital of the US, and it's actually only getting worse. So, I constantly encountered homelessness, growing up. And in the back of my head, I always thought, why did it have to be that way, and what could I do? Usually feeling like I couldn't do much, really. But during my time at school, I was able to, based on a open-ended project, come up with this kind of temporary and portable solution. So Cardborigami is actually right here. I have a little model. As you can see, it's a very compact form when it is closed. And then it essentially opens up immediately with no assembly required to create instant space, with a floor and roof and doors and even a window. And of course, they're not all this colorful, right? But the point is that there's no assembly required, and they're much better than tents because they're more durable, they're insulated, and they're recyclable. So they're good for the planet too.
Well, how is Cardborigami different from other homeless organizations?
So we're very innovative, not only because the shelter is innovative, but because of how we have our business model set up. So we are a nonprofit organization. However, we do certain programs in a way that are innovative. And I think Alex might want to talk a little bit about that.
Sure. So the way Cardborigami is different from other homeless organizations is that it takes really a collaborative approach. That's one. Two is that it provides a transitional evidence-based model. So essentially, it's not that we're just providing these sexy shelters to individuals who are on the street for the sake of a tent replacement therapy, or just to provide more privacy or an insulated space as opposed to a plastic tent. But instead, we have a 4-step model to transition people out of homelessness within 10 months. And so that is a key differential whereby we understand and we appreciate the movement with housing first. However, how are we going to get people into housing from the street all of a sudden into an apartment and have them sustain that newly housed status? So we take an innovative approach, as Tina said, but how do we define that? Well, we look at that as integration into our healthcare system. We look at that as an evidence-based model where we've laid that plan out. And we look at it in a way where no single organization could address this issue alone. So last year, LA County spent $1 billion on the homeless issue itself. But we've had a 12% increase in homelessness. So clearly, conventional methods are not working.
Right. So let me ask you about you have a population health management approach, and that has a biopsychosocio model attached to it. Why don't you explain your biopsychosocial model?
Absolutely, that's a really good question. So the biopsychosocial model dictates that, or posits that you have to look at a given individual holistically. So we can't just look at them in a biological sense, or in a psychological sense, or in the social sense, in a vacuum. Instead, we have to look at a holistic perspective in order to really make an impact on that individual's trajectory. So we are talking about connection to medical services, but as well as addressing comorbidities of mental health, substance abuse, as well as social and economic integration. So in a nutshell, that's what the biopsychosocial model is. And it's not something that we've created out of creativity because we're very creative, but it's evidence-based. So social psychologists and a wide range of researchers have already talked about this model.
So the whole notion of social innovation is that you're creating something absolutely new and now, something that really transforms, in this case, the issue that you're trying to address. And so, where does Cardborigami play in that? Are you, how are you making this new and now to address this problem that seems to be so endemic, especially here in LA?
Right. As Alex mentioned, we have a 4-step model. So I'd like to talk a little bit more about that. So the first step is really the only step that includes the physical shelter itself. Besides that, we're providing access to services that an individual might need, which again varies based on that person, right? So someone may need physical services for their health, or mental services, substance abuse, so on. So we provide that link to connect them to the right place that they might need to find the help they need. Second, that's the second step. Sorry. Third is housing placement. So what we call housing navigation is essentially, again, providing access and providing the bridging of the gap to get people into permanent housing. So it's not about handing these out on the street. It's about having these used in a safe environment and providing these additional services to the individual and getting them back on their feet. And finally, and I think most importantly, is employment, right? So that's another part of what we actually address within our organization. And one specific program that we do is called Youth Employment, where we're hiring homeless youth.
We're going to talk about youth employment in a second. I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves here.
Sure. I'm just mentioning that that's a part of our plan, whether it be with us or with other organizations. We want to help people find a job too.
Well, I want to go into that into a little bit more depth in a second here. But what I also want to find out is how can downstream program funding and grants change make it better so that we can meet the needs of the homeless population?
Sure. So basically, if you look at how funds are allocated and dispersed throughout the system, I mean, we hear news all the time that millions of dollars are now available for homeless people, right, for the homeless situation. 110 million recently made available through the city council. I think that LA City Council. I think that just throwing money at the problem is within of itself not a socially sufficient response to this issue. So to answer your question, how can downstream funding change to better meet the needs of this crisis, really, is that we have to start implementing value-based funding, so pay for performance funding. And we have this similar model now in healthcare, where we're looking at quality metrics and how people, meaning how entities are performing with their populations, and essentially shifting funding towards performance, so rewarding outcomes. Because, I mean, we have to move away from path of least resistance. I mean, it's simple to just send funds downstream to organizations that we're used to funding. But how about looking at quality metrics and saying, okay, well, this is your KPI, number of people you put into permanent housing. Out of those people, what percentage have stayed in permanent housing after a year you've placed them? So these are some simple KPIs we could select and say, okay, based on these measures, we will shift funding towards those organizations.
Right. Well, listen, we have to take a quick break here, but when we come back, we're going to talk about youth employment, and we're going to show a little film about that and talk a little bit more about Cardborigami. And you're watching Creating Good Work Live, and we're glad you're here. Thanks.
Te quiero, te adoro, mi vida. Ponle toda tu atención, que será tu corazón y el mío.
We'll be right back with more Creating Good Work Live.
Cardborigami is a portable shelter that is more durable, more structural, and more comfortable than a tent. But the main advantage is that it has no assembly required to open it up and quickly use it as a shelter. This makes it ideal for an immediate disaster response structure. However, it can also be used for recreational purposes such as camping, a kid's toy, or a shade structure on the beach. And we do sell these structures in order to fund our mission to help provide privacy and protection from the elements to those who don't have it. I realized that Los Angeles is the homeless capital of the U.S., and I decided I wanted to do something to change that. Recently, with grants from the Annenberg Foundation and from Toyota, we've been able to implement a program we call Youth Employment, where we hire local homeless youth in Los Angeles to do the initial construction of Cardborigami structures. My vision for the future of Cardborigami is to be the #1 disaster response organization to efficiently provide shelter to people after any type of disaster.
Sustainable Law Group is a different type of law firm. Our clients are primarily social enterprises, nonprofits, and green businesses. Our mission is to provide legal counsel that is aligned with our clients' values by providing integrated, sustainable, and comprehensive solutions. We're a full-service law firm. Starting a benefit corporation, cooperative, or nonprofit, the attorneys at the Sustainable Law Group are ready to support you in all stages of your business. Find out more about Sustainable Law Group at sustainablelawyer.com.
Welcome back to Creating Good Work Live on T Radio V.
Well, welcome back to Creating Good Work. We're here with Tina Hovesepian and Alex Yajarian, and we're going to talk a little bit about this whole notion of youth employment. But I thought it might be best first to cue this up with a little video that you brought us. And so if we can see that, we'll be going.
We're able to hire 5 homeless youth to fold and assemble the floors, the roofs, and the doors of about 100 Cardborigami units.
Folding Cardborigami was my first job I ever had. It was an amazing opportunity to work for this amazing cause that's helping homeless people at Skid Row.
Well, it is brief. So I guess you get to tell us a little bit more about working with homeless millennials and your youth employment program. It really does sound wonderful.
Thank you. Yes, I would love to share more. So our first kind of program, pilot program you could call it, that we did which we call youth employment, so employing homeless youth, was with 5 participants, and we basically hire them for this temporary paid internship where they come work for Cardborigami and they do the initial assembly of our shelters. So it's kind of like a step forward for them, whereas they can have this job, they put it on their resume, they have us as references, and also they're able to start getting into a routine, a daily routine of having a job. But besides that, we also have an educational component for this program where we teach them about our mission and about how even someone like them in their situation can help others. And it kind of empowers them and gives them hope. And additionally, on payday, we have a financial analyst come in, voluntary, and teach them about, checking, savings, credit, and kind of talk to them about what they're going to do with this money that they're getting, so that it's not just, splurged all of a sudden and then they're back at step 1, right? So we're providing this very kind of cohesive support system for these youth because they're at the stage in their life where it could go, they have the potential to get themselves out of poverty, or they could sink into a chronic homeless situation and add to the problem. So that's what we do, and we've kept in touch with all 5 of our past participants, and they are all employed, and they have their own, a safe place to live.
That's great. That's great.
How many young people come to you looking for employment in this process?
So the way that we kind of select our participants is through collaborating with other organizations. So we actually worked with the LA LGBT Youth Center last time, and they provided people that they thought were ready for a program like this. So we think that that's the best way to move forward, so that we kind of get people when they're ready to take that step and get permanent employment.
How many organizations then are aware of what you're doing, and how are you contacting those organizations?
Currently, we've been in touch with the LGBT Center, but we're working on getting, as many partnerships and other organizations involved as possible. So for our next program, we're looking for the right partnership as well. So I'm open to kind of discussions with anyone that's listening to this show, for example, or that might have a similar program that they can work with.
Well, you have been recognized as in this world for the good work that you're doing, Tina. And I want to show a brief clip from that was, I guess, aired here on ABC News here in LA, and that was about your time in Louisville. And I wonder if we're ready, we can bring that up.
Muhammad Ali left behind a long legacy of helping others, and this weekend the 4th annual Muhammad Ali Humanitarian Awards in Louisville, Kentucky will honor 6 young people under 30 for their own work, and among those a local woman, Tina Hovesepian, will receive the Respect Award for her nonprofit Cardborigami. And how did the Muhammad Ali Foundation find out about this?
Well, actually, I was, last year, I was honored as a Mother of Invention by Toyota.
Nice.
And that's how they found me, and they kind of reached out, and there was a nomination process, and I'm so humbled and honored to be receiving an award from them.
And we're watching some of this video on the right side of your screen, and this is a really neat project, and it could do a lot because homeless problem is really a big problem.
Right, and it's been getting worse lately. And one thing that we do is very unique. We actually hire homeless youth to do the initial construction of shelters. So that way we're providing them jobs and verifiable work experience. So it's not only about providing a temporary space, but more about helping get people back on their feet.
Tell me about the award and what it means to you.
The award was such an honor, and I cannot believe that it came at the best time. I'm so honored, and it's kind of just still not.
Wow, what an award. Tell us more about going into Louisville, Kentucky, and that whole experience for you.
Sure, yes, it was a beautiful experience due to our work both locally in LA with youth employment and internationally in Nepal when we went and helped rebuild schools and libraries. We were kind of, it caught the attention of the Muhammad Ali Center. So that was just a really big step for me and for the organization because we can use this to help get more support and be able to help more people, and that's really what it comes down to. And Louisville was so wonderful. I mean, the event was beautiful and everyone was so nice, and I got to meet so many other great people that are doing great work.
Were
So
you able to
good.
meet Mayor Fisher? Did you meet the mayor of Louisville?
I did, yeah, he was there.
Yeah.
And
Good
also,
guy.
yeah, he was. He kind of congratulated us all. And Lonnie Ali was there, of course. She's very big in that community, as well as Cindy McCain. And she was another award recipient, and we both went to USC, so we had the Trojan connection, which was great. So maybe we can work together.
Right. So, you know, as we mentioned before, and as you mentioned in the video, you were named Mother of Invention in 2015 at what, 27 Mother of Invention? I think it's pretty good. By the Women in the World organization, Tina Brown's organizations. What's transpired as a result of that award?
Well, Toyota was kind of the backer or sponsor of that award, which has been so amazing because they really want to see us all succeed, all of the different, you know, awardees of this Mother of Invention. And most recently, they actually donated a brand new Toyota Tundra for us to be able to deliver shelters locally in the LA area. So yeah, we're going to be unveiling that soon, and we're really excited.
Well, you guys are holding a big fundraiser in the next few weeks, and I want to know how people can learn more about that and help support Cardborigami and the work that you're doing.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about the
Yes,
fundraiser.
so November 5th, remember, the 5th of November, we're having a great big festival. It's going to be at Pinky's Iron Doors showroom, which is this amazing warehouse space. It used to be the Twinkies facility where they made Twinkies, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
But that's where we're going to be unveiling our brand new truck, as well as we're going to have live music, a performer from Skid Row, actually. So we're including artists from Skid Row into our event. We're going to have amazing auction items, and if anyone's interested to come, please RSVP on our website at cardborigami.org.
Yes.
Just click RSVP, and we hope to see you there.
We'll put up a contact card for you at the end of the show, but it sounds like a great event that people can really help support this good work and by showing up and opening your wallets.
Yes.
How cool would that be?
Helping us expand our youth employment program.
So, what's next for Cardborigami?
So, next for Cardborigami is essentially moving forward to health system integration, and we want to move forward the cause of homeless alleviation. However, we can't look at homelessness apart from health and healthcare delivery. So the fact that these two are looked in silos is kind of an issue that needs to be addressed, and we need to integrate. And so in addition to mass produce the shelters, to provide logistical support disaster relief, with our disaster relief component as well. So strategically placing our shelters in areas where that we could look at with predictive analytics that would be disaster prone, and essentially having these shelters there ready to be deployed when disaster hits.
Well, we're really happy for you, Tina and Alex, and the work that you guys are doing and the success you're having. And we're really glad that you could join us today on Cardborigami. If you could put up the contact information for them. We've been talking to Tina Hovesepian and Alex Ejarian, and here at Creating Good Work, and we're really pleased that you could be with us today.
Thank you.
We're looking forward to your next visit so that you can keep us informed.
Absolutely.
Thank
Thank
you
you
so
so much.
much.
Well,
Thank
good.
you for coming.
We'll be right back here with Creating Good Work Live.
There's more to come on Creating Good Work Live.
The real question that needs to be asked as well as answered. It's what is it that we can do that is unique, that is impactful.
I am Estella Piper. This is my Brilliant Bus.
We're going to empower every individual and every organization to do more and achieve more.
I had an idea, a bus that brings technology to kids that need it most. When I look in the mirror, what do I see? A brilliant mind. Looking back at me.
It's this process of continuous renewal, of showing courage in the face of reality.
If you dream big enough and believe in your dreams, you can make it happen.
Showing that courage in the face of opportunity.
What can you do in 3 seconds? You can blow bubbles. You can hug a friend. You can help a stranger. But also, you can put lives in danger.
Dude, you're falling asleep. Drowsy driving is just as bad as drunk driving. We need to pull over.
Yeah, you're right.
So what can you do in 3 seconds? The choice is up to you.
And now here's Ron and Greg.
Welcome back to Creating Good Work. Our next guest is a dear friend and a wonderful entrepreneur here in LA. His name is Jay Levin. Jay was the founder and first editor and publisher of LA Weekly, and since then he is now the president of the Big EQ campaign, which is a nonprofit organization that has undertaken a mass marketing campaign to mobilize the public to mandate that social and emotional learning skills be included in every school's curriculum. And so welcome, Jay.
Hi.
Good to
Thanks,
have you
Ron.
here.
To be here.
So I guess we should begin with what is EQ? And from that, what is the Big EQ campaign you've launched?
So EQ is the shorthand for emotional intelligence, which is a takeoff from IQ, intellectual quotient is emotional quotient, and Daniel Coleman in the '90s wrote the first book about EQ and popularized the expression.
Mm-hmm.
The Big EQ campaign is taking that as the most popular form we know of, in terms of what the public understands, and shorthand for emotional intelligence. And we're going out to make sure that the public knows that emotional intelligence programs that include relationship training, training in self-management, emotional awareness. If you bring these programs into the school, you get a voluminous, dramatic, positive response. You actually get kids who come out of their reactive part of their brains, the reactive behavior, who learn how to be young adults and mature, loving adults.
Mm-hmm.
And you get most of the achievement scales, the positive achievement scales go up, academic scores go up, IQ actually goes up on testing if the children have been fully immersed in social emotional learning programs, as they're called. And attendance goes up, behavior improves dramatically. What goes down is violence, depression, bullying, dropouts. All the negative indicators go down, the markers. So, it's a way that you can turn around a school in a year or two.
Mm-hmm.
And on a bigger picture, on a more dramatic picture, the way you can turn around the human population.
Yeah.
So you're getting really healthy, high-achieving people coming out of schools. You save the public schools. These are like incredibly cost-effective compared with everything else that wants to be done. It's not our goal to save the public schools, but it is our goal to get every school in America to have social emotional programs infused into the curriculum.
What motivated you to go in that direction?
So I've always, as a person, I've always looked at first as a journalist, and first as a human being, then as a journalist. I was always interested in what made positive change, right, and how to make positive change. So I went into journalism because I thought that was a medium to awake people to the positive transformation and systems going on in the culture, and the cultural expressions and the species development of systems that could, advance the species and cut back, and cut down on racism, poverty, et cetera. So I was a progressive journalist, and over the years I've worked in a number of causes that seemed to me to be fulcrum issues, one of them being money and politics. But over the years, I, as a young journalist, one of the areas I covered and had the weekly cover was the post-Freudian human development movement, the changes in systems and practices that allowed people to come out of the behavior patterns we've known for eons that create separation between people, that create conflict, which is just a mindset. And the basic thing I learned over the years in covering these was that it's a skill set. Creating good relationships, managing your own negativity, managing your own reactive outbursts, is a process that we're deprived of really, really good trainings and good skill sets. So the whole self-help movement is part of that, but in an adult way. The things like Landmark, Forum, et cetera, are adult programs that help people develop new ways of dealing with themselves and relating to other people in the world.
Well, with all the work that's been done around neuroplasticity and how our brain our brain can shift, this whole notion of emotional intelligence and emotional quotients, if you will, have we've understand more that we don't have to be stuck where we are in that area, that we can improve and move.
Absolutely,
we
can improve.
Maybe you can talk a little bit more, Jay, about the history out of which this has come.
The history of
emotional and.
So emotional intelligence programs began, even for children, began to be developed 40 years ago, right? And the whole subject of emotional intelligence was came out of the academic community and mostly psychology departments that looked into this. So what the understanding was, and over the years has grown, is that the species is developing the tools to save its own destructive behavior and mindsets, right? And the question then became how to get them out into the mass population, right? So on the adult level, organizations like MindSpring and the Forum sprang up. But under the radar, a lot of child psychologists and educators had gotten together, and they started developing these programs for kids many years ago. And they tried to get into the school systems, and to some degree had a little bit of success. After Daniel's book came out, they started to have a little bit more success.
Daniel Goleman.
Daniel Goleman's book. But the reality is that they've had minimal, modest success over the years. And the basic reason is that not because the programs don't work, not because they don't have 30 years of great evidence about these programs, but because the public doesn't know about them. The public doesn't know about them because these are just a bunch of little companies. There's actually hundreds of them now. Going around to schools with little budgets, trying to get some foothold in schools and competing with each other. They have no business association, right? They've had no mass, got milk campaign to sell the product rather than to sell an individual off-the-shelf part of the project. So the wasteland in the schools and the deficiencies in the schools, which could be significantly healed and transformed, and a lot of pain taken out of schools and out of parents' pockets who send their kids to private schools, is the fact that the public doesn't know about it. I've talked to hundreds of people, and I've asked everybody who's not an educator Do you know what social emotional learning is? I've yet to have one person who didn't give me a blank stare or give me an answer.
That's interesting.
Only people in education circles know about it.
Yeah.
Within the education community, there's strong organizations supporting it, like Cassell in Chicago, but there's no organization doing the Got Milk campaign.
Right.
So Big EQ campaign was formed to do the Big Got Milk campaign on behalf of these companies with no ties to them at all.
Yeah, well, we're going to have to take a quick break here,
Okay.
Jay. It's my how fly times, huh? And we're gonna be right back with Creating Good Work and Jay Levin, and talk some more about the Big EQ campaign that you're undertaking.
Thank you.
Keep your hands to the
Watching Creating Good Work live on T Radio V.
Every year, 15 million teens are a victim of cyberbullying. 19,000 of those teens contemplate suicide. What if we use the power of social networking to inspire America's teens so they build each other up instead of tear each other down? Would our community be a better place? Would our country be a better place? We think so too. Getting America's teens to help one another is what the Great American No Bull Challenge is all about.
Hi, I'm Dr. Oz. It's my daughter Zoe.
Hey guys, I'm Zach Beach, one of the youngest race car drivers in the country.
Hi, my name is Nicole Edgington, and I'm a national spokesperson for the Great American No Bull Challenge.
Each year, 15 million teenagers are cyberbullied.
As a kid, I was bullied, and I never let that stop me chasing my dream to get to the top in racing.
Learning how to deal with cyberbullies on your own is a complicated thing to do.
So please join me.
Join Team No Bull and join the conversation.
You plus No Bull. Proud partners of the No Bull Challenge.
Most anti-bullying efforts rely heavily on bystanders to take action, leaving your child with no protection. The No app aims to change that. Now your child can summon the assistance of a policewoman to tell the bully no, and you get alerted in real time with a map of your child's location. With video evidence, the bully's parents can be confronted, and school officials can be forced to take action. You get increased peace of mind, and your child gets increased self-confidence.
but I know it'll have to draw me before it can breathe easy.
We're back with Ron and Greg.
And we are back.
Yes, we are.
Mr. Franks?
What are some of the widespread benefits beyond what you're sharing now that you see?
Well, the in-school benefits are, as I've described, everything, all the markers get better, and all the negative markers go decrease. So you can name a negative marker. It could be suicide, it can be dropouts, it could be attendance, it could be, outbursts of children, bad behavior, etc. So that gets replaced by this remarkable sense of community, loving community, basically, and a high degree of cooperation among students. They're glad to come to school. On the long trail studies show that, in fact, kids who go through these programs actually do better in life, because they come out mentally and physically healthy. The long trail shows that you have fewer mental problems, fewer physical problems, et cetera, because you're functioning as a healthy human being and you're coping with information better. Most of our disease is stress. Most of our dysfunctionality in the society is coming from the separation consciousness that we get schooled in this culture. Look at the election right now. Mm-hmm. So that's the disease of the species. And it has to do with it's me against you rather than how do we best work together. So if you're trained as kids in how to best work together, right, you're automatically in your most creative mode. So you get more innovation, you get more learning, you'll get better entrepreneurs, you get fabulous people, employees, because they know how to work together. It's not going to be, and they're literally going to change the way we do business in the world and how we relate and how we solve problems. As Einstein said, you can't solve a problem, a social problem or any kind of problem, from the mindset that created it. So the bigger picture here for the Big EQ is not only change the schools, but to set a marker and a way to change the way the species relates to each other and have that be alive, lived by the kids coming out of the school.
So how do you get the schools to implement something like this?
Well, that's the big issue. There's bureaucracy, there's funding issues. You've got to retrain the best programs, retrain the teachers, retrain the entire staff. So there's a common language. So it's an immersion experience. So it comes into every class, the way of addressing issues. And then you have, you can have specialty classes, period 3 is social emotional learning. But, so that's a lift, and then you've got to implement that. So the gap between that and the bureaucracy is the fact there's no wind beyond the sails of the movement of these programs. So you don't have parents, because they don't know about this, going to the schools and saying, you better put this in tomorrow.
Mhm.
We want this today, You don't have them going to legislature and say, you better fund this.
Right.
I want to see my kid in the schools with other kids that have this, and I want to have my kid come home in this kind of shape.
Right.
And we also want to get the business community. We're asking all the businesses to put on their program, on their marketing materials, we support social emotional learning in all schools. We want to make it 2-3 years from now that the entire country understands that social emotional learning is something to talk about, emotional intelligence something to talk about. People know what it's about, and there's a mass support for it, so that in fact they overwhelm the schools bureaucracies and they get implemented on a massive and rapid level.
What are some of your major challenges then?
For us?
Yes.
Well, our major challenges, we're a new organization, so we have the challenges of any new organization, which is building a solid foundation. We've been able to do with our board and our advisory board.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people, for a number of prominent people in the social emotional learning education community. Quite a number of business people have signed on to help us. Our board is business people. Mayor Garcetti has endorsed us, so we've got to keep moving that, raise money, and the other challenge we have, raise more money, and the other challenge we have is just simply getting buy-in from the public on a small scale. So it's just, what are the tools and creative ways we can educate the public on the fastest level possible?
And so what are you doing there?
Well, we put up our website, bigeqcampaign.org, bigeqcampaign.org.
We'll flash a contact card at the end for you.
Okay. Thanks.
So people know how to
So
find
we put up the website. We're about to do a social media campaign to get people to get bumper stickers.
Mhm.
We want social emotional learning, and then we're going to move into we're going to use LA County as a test area. So we're going to do our first mass advertising here. So you'll turn on the TV or radio and you'll hear ads for us.
Mhm.
And we'll do a lot of niche social media marketing things here, so that we're talking the language of each niche community. So we've been talking to digital agencies about, that they're specialized in different segments of the community.
And so what kind of reaction are you getting from folks?
Oh, everybody hears about this. Really gets excited about it. We've got tremendous reaction. It's like godmother and apple pie. It's very hard to say you don't want to have healthy kids who are emotionally intelligent, who when you see some of these kids in the videos we have on the website, you think, yeah, we got to have this for everybody.
Mhm.
So it's in that sense, it's easy. The hard sense is, people are distracted by elections and this and that, and they've got a lot on their plate, so we've got to get through that noise, and that's our creative challenge.
Yeah, what's been the reaction so far?
Beyond what I just said?
Yeah.
Well, basically, it's been easy to sign people up, right? People go to the website, see it, and come say, how can I help? So that's a good reaction. When I talk to people in the social emotional community and the education community, they say, that's a godsend, including some people I can't name, right? Because they're high positions in institutions. But they say, we need this, we need this, we need this. Thank God somebody's doing it. So I hear that a lot. That's primary. And then, just people I talk to say, that's fantastic, how can I help?
Who's working with you on the project?
So our board is Richard Foose, who starred Rhino Retros and Shout Factory, and was chairman. He's big on getting on youth development. So he was chairman for a while and is a big player in Little Kids Rock, which puts music programs in all the schools at the night. So they've got 1,200 schools around the country. Dr. Rosalind Blake, who's African-American businesswoman here, who's also got her own programs for young girl development, and very successful, and both business financially and with her programs. And she's on the board of USC Pharmacy College of Pharmacy. Eric Oberhertz, who's the director, the CEO and co-founder of 10 Degrees Restaurants, and he's been very involved in programs for foster children and poverty children, job development for poverty children. So we're the board at the moment. We'll be adding as we go. And on our advisory board, we have, fellows like Richard Sherman, who was one of the big funders in the world of social emotional learning development in the academic. He was the Novo Foundation. He was the key player at the Novo Foundation for years that brought that.
Do you have any? Are there any schools involved yet?
We're not in terms of schools. We're not. I get queries from officials saying, "How can I advance this in my schools?" Right? So they hear about this. They say, "Can you help me?" So I link them up with people I might know. But we're not dealing directly with schools in the sense of. We're not selling any programs.
Right. We're
just telling the public, you got to tell your administrators to pick the program that best fits your your school and your system and your needs, and we want to keep out of the fray of looking to.
So it's really
we've got about 20 programs, and probably actually more like 40 if I really counted them up, that I've talked to that said, we're in, we'll help you, we want to endorse it, So, but I'm not even publishing a list of them yet, because I don't want to be seen to be favoring any one program. We really want to say to the public, we're just here on a good community, good civic basis to say, get these programs in. We're not marketing for any one program.
So it's an awareness program.
It's complete. Imagine an advocacy program. We on the website you'll find a guide for everybody in the public. You'll find a guide for parents, a guide for businesses, a guide for students, a guide for teachers. Anybody who wants to promote the program, we give you a specific guide for how to move it forward and how to help join with the Big EQ campaign and moving it forward.
Are you measuring its effectiveness?
We will be. When we do the test in LA County, we're definitely going to measure the effectiveness. Not only what ads work, but what the nature of the response is, et cetera. Because when we go out to the big, nationally, we're going to want a number of big companies to sign on, and basically run our ads on their ad budgets and just say donated by, as good marketing, and put it in the markets that they want to build their brand in. So we're definitely going to get market.
So what are your needs? What do you want from folks right now, Jay?
Well, our core need right now is to get as many people as possible to start spreading the message. Right, coming to the website, sending other people to the website. Get active. If you're a parent, start calling the schools already. Follow our parent guide. If you're a business, come sign up with us. We'll send you the logos and the materials you need to add to your marketing. We support social emotional learning in all schools.
Well, let's put up the contact information, and so that people know how to find you. Okay. And there's your website, and this whole notion of emotional intelligence and social emotional learning in schools is so critical. We teach this to adults,
right?
And they're
barely,
and they're just getting it.
Right.
Well, thanks, Jay. I really appreciate you coming on today.
Thank you, Ron.
It's been great having you, and I'm glad you could join us here on Creating Good Work, because I think this will really help people create even better work.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So thanks again, and next time we come to you, we'll be coming to you as part of the CalGov TV network, which I hope you all look forward to the launch of as much as we do. In the meantime, I'm Ron Schultz.
And I'm Greg Franks.
Thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
Whew.
This morning.
Creating Good Work Live is a production of the Social Action Media Network on T Radio V.
You are watching T Radio V, Radio and TV.